Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. This one is just a slightly different one due to COVID and whatnot. The season has been delayed at the start. We've normally had a bit of a test race done by this point, but this is just a recap, like I say, of my closest race last season, which is at Bayford Meadows. Alpha Time just recently put a video up as well of the final of this meeting, which is a really good watch. I recommend you go and watch that. Obviously this is just from my point of view, so slightly different, but this first heat I will be starting from pole position, so standard plan, try and make this as dull and as boring as we can, try and just get the day off to a good start with a win on the board. This is one to note as well, this is probably the most ridiculous start of the season that I did, just purely because of how slow the roll-up is, just, you'll see.
Can Joe Holmes see this one out from the front? He will be the heavy favourite for this fourth heat in the heavies. Not championship leader, of course, because he was not present at the round for Clay Pigeon earlier in the season. But away we go then. Very good start for Joe Holmes there. Yeah. Catching anti-pole side of the grid out there.
And it worked a treat, to be fair. I think I caught people out there. I don't think they expected me to be going quite as slowly as I was. I got a few bumps there. I think people must have been scared the car were going to put out or something. I have no idea. But decent start. I think at this point I've got a couple of seconds gap already. So just try and keep pushing. Like I say, let's try and make this nice and dull. This is probably one of my favourite tracks that we do. I think I've only raced it about 3 times as well, but I always run well here. For some reason we don't race here all the time. I don't know if it's the case that it's a bit far for people to travel or what, but like I say, it's such a good track, really good for overtaking, normally close racing as well, so we can't complain too much. You'll probably notice that my lines will adapt a little bit throughout the day, just because at the start we only had, I think, 20 minutes practice, and like I say, for a track that I've only run 3 times on, you can't expect too much. Now we're going to fast forward to the last lap of the race. Nothing really happened in this race between the first corner and now, so I can't expect much footage.
We have genuinely barely seen this man during this race.
Just like they say, I guess this is what happens when you start on pole with a decent car, but I'm not going to complain about it. I've got the start that I wanted to the day, so that is all that we can do for now.
I don't really know which words to use for this performance from Joe, apart from impeccable, brilliant. Joe Holmes takes another victory here in Club 100 from pole position.
Right, so that's win number 1 on the board. Don't be fooled by the title, things are going to get a little bit more interesting. All the races are like this, I promise, so just keep watching, you'll see. Right then, heat number 2. Let's try and make this a little bit more exciting. We're starting this one from 7th. We've got Anwar starting on pole, Stephen Downs on 2nd, so it is going to be good to try and get to the front here if we can, but we need to get there quickly, otherwise I feel like Anwar might run away a little bit. Now Jonathan Elliott in front, he's just holding on the throttle there and the clutch is just spinning up. It doesn't sound too healthy at all. We do get a good start though, I'll give him a little bit of a nudge there. As Stephen Downs just gets caught napping in P2. He does go for a big send here though, right outside. Stuart Simmons just kind of shoves him off a little bit, and I get blamed for that. Jonathan Elliott, like I got pushed from behind, so whilst they're throwing some hand gestures, I'm just going to nip it round outside there. And I get a really good run on Stuart here, so let's make light work of him as well. Send that one up the inside. So in what, 3-4 corners, we're already up into P2, so it's been probably the best start I could have asked for, to be quite honest. The aim now is just to try and close in on Anwar. I think at this moment in time, realistically, a win is on the cards, but as the laps went on, I kind of felt like the car wasn't as good as the first heat. You'll probably notice here he just pulls out a couple of kart lengths just coming out of the fast corners, but we'll see what we can do, see if we can try and close him in a little bit. Now, unfortunately, I just didn't have the pace to catch Anwar, so we're just going to fast forward here onto the last lap. Nothing else really happened to warrant watching, so the gap to third's pretty comfortable. Stephen Downs has managed to get back up to 3rd place. He's closing in on me slightly, but nothing for me to worry about. There wasn't enough time for him to get close. Likewise, there wasn't enough time for me to get close to Anwar. He kind of pulled out a little bit of a gap, and I started to close him in by maybe like a 10th a lap, but by this point, it's just not enough time. Your heats are only 8 laps, so the majority of the damage that you do is in the first few laps, and everyone's nicely bunched up. I think realistically, getting a P2 here is probably the best you can do when you've got one of the top drivers starting on pole and you're middle of the pack. You know, you're always going to struggle to get near them unless you've got like a rocket of a car or whatever. But so this heat was a little bit more interesting than the first one. Let's see if we can make the 3rd heat a little bit more exciting still. At this point we've got a win on the board, a second on the board. It's a good start. Like I say, let's see if we can spice this up a little bit more. Here we have it, start of heat number 3. We're starting this one in P12. This should be an interesting race. We've got Anwar in this heat as well. I think he's starting about 7th, I think, roughly somewhere around there. It's going to be important to get a good start here. So I'm going to kneel on the back of Lindley. I'm not going to push him too hard. I don't want to get done for bumping, but I'm just going to give him a little bit of a helping hand. As we come into turn 1, there's a lot of bumping and barging there, but it's kind of worked out in my favour. I made 2 places already. As I'm just going to stick on the back of Lindley. He's on the inside, it's the place that you want to be, as it's a bit chaos on the outside there. I get heaved a bit wide. I'm on the grass, but an overtake still into 7th. Come into hairpin, and I've been punted. Not massive. I've lost a place for it. Here, we'll carry on. Now as we come out of that hairpin, it's a false start. Gutted. Give it a good start, made 4 places already. Right, we'll go again. We'll try and go better than the first one if we can. So same as last time, I'm just going to lean on Lindley's bumper. Lean as well is the key word. Now as we come into turn 1 this time, it's definitely a lot more tame. We've gained 1 position, and that's it. And it doesn't look like he's got. Oh god! Oh Jesus Christ! Everyone's just getting smashed about. It's like bumper cars there. That wasn't ideal. Right, so let's get on with this. So we're going to do a bit of a cutback into hairpin. So we're up into P10. So we've made 2 places. Let's just keep going at this. The problem is we've got a bit of a train at the moment, so we just need to kind of break out of this if we can. I'm going to line Lindley up for somewhere around the start line, just because it's very difficult to overtake around these corners. It goes to a really wide line. Now luckily for me, these 2 boys managed to come together a little bit, so I'll take 2 places for the price of 1 there. So we're up into 8. All in all, not actually that bad of a first lap. We've made 4 places. Now it's just about going forwards. As we start lap 2, you can see Anwar just ahead. He's up into 4th place, so this isn't really ideal. Out of turn 1, nice and early on the power. We're going to close up quite a lot here. Lindley kind of goes for a half-hearted move there. I'm going to go for the late apex. Let's see if we can get the pair of them.
Him, and they're all squabbling. Oh, here he comes as well. Joe Holmes with the number 1 on the inside of Alex Pritchard.
And just like that, P8 turns into P6. So we'll take that. Anwar's only in P4 now. We're on the back of this group. Now, the guy at the front, Paul Williams, he drives the widest car I think I've ever seen during this race. It makes the race like literally 10 times better. It's so good. All I have to do now is just climb onto the back of Stuart Simmons, and then I'm part of it. I'm already in the tow, so I'm not broken away from me or anything like that. As we start lap number 3, you can see just ahead Paul Williams who's just defending, but Dave Heathers is trying to get that cut back. He knows that we need to get past here. Tim Hill tries to send one up the inside, that doesn't really work. And again, I get a good exit. Stuart gets kind of compromised there, as I'm just going to squeeze through on the inside. So we're back up, well not back up, we are now into P5, which is just behind Anwar's. He tried to move on Tim Hill there, but it didn't really work out. And he just kind of checked just to see what behind him, then he's noticed it with me. He's going to check again, so he knows that I'm there. So now he feels a bit under pressure, I think, I think he wants to put a bit of a gap between me and him, really. I don't think he expected me to be behind him on lap 3. Considering he started a good 5-6 places ahead, but that is what this heat has turned into. Now as you come out of the final corner, turn 1 is always a really good opportunity to overtake, like probably one of the prime ones. We are a little bit far behind, Anwar tries to go for a little bit of a dummy. And you just saw there, Peathers, he gets a really good cutback there, so he's straight past Paul Williams. Tim Hill wants a bit of that, and I get mugged out outside. Oh joy.
By Paul Williams is over, and now Tim Hill's going to look to the inside. There's a bit of tyre smoke there. Simmons is to the outside of Holmes and Burrell Smith.
Not ideal there at all. Absolutely mugged. But, oh, wow.
They're ahead of the reigning champion. Oh, no! It's half spins and gets saved by Alex Pritchard.
Stuart Simmons has gone from absolute hero to 0. He just completely mugged me around the outside of turn 2. and then like bins himself going into the hairpin and kind of takes Anwar out a little bit just for good measure as well. So Anwar's alright, he's still in P5 just behind me, but right, so we're in P4, let's just concentrate on what's going on and not that I got mugged around the outside of turn 2, which were absolutely horrific.
Thought that might be a case of a stopper in the bottle and just everyone was going to come through, but he managed to regain his rhythm and hold off Tim Hill. And Tim Hill can be quite a robust driver when he wants to be. Go for that pass, and look at this, Joe Holmes now down the inside of Tim Hill into turn 3. How it's changed since a lap ago. Earlier, like Stuart Simmons was trying to put a move on Joe Holmes last lap. Here he is down the inside of Paul Williams now, but Williams will have the inside for the next corner. All of this is allowing Dave Pethers to check out at the front. I've been very impressed with Pethers across all of his heats, and he's setting himself up beautifully.
I went from doing a pretty decent move on Tim, trying to get past Paul a little bit quick, but then coming out of the corner onto the back straight, Tim just kind of like gets stuck on my bumper and it just killed my momentum, so Anwar's managed to just pick off both of us there, so he's just got to move for nothing really. We need to make light work of him, get past Paul Williams and see if we can catch Pethers, because he is just shot off. Now like I was saying about turn 1, boom, we're just going to mug Anwar a little bit into turn 1, not too major. And into turn 2 here we are going to go for the late apex. It's worked out. He's going to squeeze us a little bit coming down to the hairpin, but there's not much he can do there. That move's been done and dusted. Let's see if Mr. Pethers can be caught with 2 laps left. It's going to be difficult, but it's possible. Now as we come on to the last lap, there wasn't enough time. I caught him up quite a bit, but he's buzzing about that win. I'm happy for him. That was such a good race, But a win, a second, and now another second. Let's see where that puts us for the final. See if we can make that any more exciting than that heat. That were one of the best heats I've had all season, to be fair. Right, and here we are, the start of the final. Now, sadly, first and 2 second places were only good enough to actually put me on second place for the final. Sean Briley on pole, he's had an absolute belter of a day. Anwar on 3rd. And we actually have Adam Wright close. I think he might be 4th or 5th even, so this has all the ingredients to be a very, very good race. So the main aim here is just to try and hold position if we can. It's going to be hard on the outside. Just kind of miss the start very slightly there. Got to my right foot, I'm just going to lift off and just slam straight into 3rd place. You know, losing getting into 3rd place after starting 2nd when you're on the outside is not that bad, to be fair. And, obviously it hasn't really cost me much. I'm still in the fight here. Now the 2 lads ahead, Anwar and Sean, they are actually part of the same team, Briars Racing. I expect them to make this incredibly difficult for me. They'll probably work together to try and stop me getting in front, which, is expected really. As Anwar's checking behind, as you normally do on the first lap, everyone's probably as close as they're ever going to be at the start of a race, so that's kind of expected. Now, before the final, as normal, you get a few laps just to test your kart. I felt my kart were quite decent, to be honest. I think the karts this round particularly were very, very close. There wasn't much in them, so you're not going to have a rocket ship. As Anwar there was giving me the, let's go sign, let's get him. I'd like to think that he's, that's going to happen, but is he going to choose me over his teammate? I'm not too sure. Now we're going to go for the usual late apex, see if we can get Anwar covered, but he's already checking and defecting a little bit. We're on lap 2, but this is just how close this race is going to be. Position's going to play with him, but we're going to send a late one in.
This top 3 breaking away as Holmes goes down the inside of Raoul Smith for 2nd place. Big move and gets it done. So Holmes up to 2nd place then.
It was a late move, but a fair move. I think when you're racing against like the top drivers, you know what you can and can't get away with. I probably wouldn't try that move on, somebody that's new into racing or something like that, because they probably don't expect you to do it. But when you're racing against one of the top guys, you can sort of get away with that. So you put a lot of faith into them that they will give you the space, which fair play to Anwar do. Start of lap 3, we're into 2nd place. We get a really good run on Sean here, but we're not really close enough to do anything about it, to be quite honest. He does run a little bit wide, see, my whole thinking of this point was, let's try and unsettle Sean if we can. He looked quick enough, but I wanted to unsettle him so that he didn't pull away or anything like that. Try and make his life difficult, really. The position that I'm in at the moment, I'm in a sandwich. You know, I'm trying to attack but defend. Any move that I now make for the lead has to be clean and can't cost me much time, because otherwise Anwar's, you know, he's going to take a piece of it, and then, you know, you move for the lead, sets you back to third or maybe fourth place, because at this point Adam Wright's now joined the train, he's sat there in fourth place, so we can't really afford to do, you know, a half-hearted move. So end of lap 3, start of lap 4, Sean's taking a lot of looks here. I'd normally maybe go for the move there into turn 1, but like I just said, you can't do an half-hearted move, it's just going to cost you time. It's just not worth dropping a few places to try something. So we're going to go for the late apex, standard one. Sean's seen it. And I didn't really get that close to him as much as I thought or would have liked to have done. But we're going to go for the late one again. And it's too late. It's not too much as that one.
In class 2, Andrew, because he's currently the third.
Down the inside, sorry, Howard. Holmes going for a move on Briley and let him back through. Yeah, there was a bit of contact there, so that was correct by Joe Holmes to let Briley go back through. But he's going for it again as they go through the long left-hander. They're going to be side by side. Briley will have the inside for the next corner, which is a right-hander, and Burrell Smith's going to nip up the inside. Oh, he's side by side. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant from Anwar Burrell Smith. He saw the door open again, went, yes, I'm going down the inside of you there, Joe, because this is key. This is key for championship as we get to this middle part of this.
Like I say, a little bit too late of a move. Made that problem myself. The first move wasn't that bad, but then the second one, leaving yourself on the outside, you're always going to get mugged there, and ended up costing me third place. So not really much I can do about that one. Now I'm actually having to defend from somebody here.
He knows is the time to pounce, but Adam Wright is having a look at Joe Holmes. Holmes is having to go defensive here against Adam Wright in the battle over third place, and that's but it's interesting, Andrew. Burrell Smith and Holmes both on this lap going to the inside of corners, half in a defence but half in attack as well. Again, yeah. Holmes going shallow on the entry into 8. It'll push him out slightly wider, but there's not much that Adam Wright can do.
As I mentioned earlier, Adam Wright had joined the train, so because of that move that I went for in Sean, which now dropped me to third, I'm now having to defend from Adam in fourth. So one silly move can end up costing you all of that. Now, Anwar's in a position now where he's going to get to be able to attack Sean without having to worry about me. And he gets a decent run out of turn 1. Sean doesn't make it too hard for him, which, you know, I'm not too surprised about. I'm up into the back of Sean, which, again, I'm going to have to defend from Adam. So, you know, at this point, we're 6 laps in out of 14, so, you know, it's not over yet, but Anwar has now got to the front, who is probably, you know, I think he's a little bit quicker than Sean. This is a bit more of an issue for me because I have to now make light work of Sean to give myself the opportunity to catch up to Anwar and pass him. Now, it'll be interesting to see just how much Anwar pulls away here, if at all. Like I say, I think Sean's quick enough, but I think he's I've got him looking at his mirrors a bit too much now. So I'm going to have to make a move quite quickly. As we start lap number 7, I'm going to aim for, you know, the good exit off turn 1. I feel like that's a good point. Sean is very, very late on the brakes into turn 1, but I feel like it compromises his exit ever so slightly, which is a good point for me. Another one is into this hairpin, so I've already noted a few points where there's potential to overtake him. Again, into his hairpin, but it's so questionable to get a move into that hairpin. As I did with Anwar, you've got to have a lot of trust in the person that's not going to turn in on you. And fair play to Sean, the move that I went for on him was a little bit too late, but it's still a very ropey move, to be fair. As you've just probably noticed, Sean's inside rear wheel there with jacking. This obviously were filmed in summer when it were absolutely red hot, so that jacking quite a lot. There's quite a lot of grip out today. So that's lap number 7. Sean just gave me there inside, which means one thing to me. I feel like I'm struggling. Push me, let's try and catch him. I don't want any of that. So we're going to go to the inside. He's going to give me space, and we have to ramp the curb, but we get it done. It didn't actually cost me too much on the exit either, that, so I don't have to defend from him. Now at this point, Anwar just took a check. He's noticed that I'm in second place. What I'm going to try and do with Anwar is kind of what I did with Sean. let's try and unsettle him, let's try and get him looking behind, concentrate him on me and what he's doing in front of him. Or at least that's the plan anyway. Now, at this stage, it's kind of look and see where you're quicker than somebody. So for me, look and see where I'm quicker than Anwar. And there were a particular line that I feel like he took into the boot section. I'm quite quick in that final sector there, the final corner coming onto the main straight. So I knew I was strong there, so there's always the potential for the cutback here in turn 1, but I think Anwar's going to be wise to that. I think it's just too much of an obvious move. I'm really late on the brakes into here, I close up loads, but again, unless you're on the inside, that move's just not going to happen. Unless you do as Stuart Simmons and bug him around the outside like Stuart did to me, but it's not very often you see that. So the line that we're talking about into the boot section is coming into this corner here. Now Anwar takes a check over, but he doesn't hold the curb for very long. So it like runs out there, which I was kind of thinking, you kind of don't overtake there really. Can I potentially do a move there? I gain him here, could I do a move into the final corner? Or could I get him into turn 1? They're probably the 3 places where he's not expecting me to do it, where he's probably not going to defend from me. Again, we get a good exit out of turn 1, but he just weaves ever so slightly. We're going to go for the late apex here. Let's see if we get a cutback. This is a good opportunity actually.
Well, good run off of 3 and 4 though there for Joe Holmes. He's trying to set up the opportunity.
It was actually, I think that was kind of an unintentional squeeze. He was looking the wrong way, it kind of defended from me. That kind of, no, that move obviously didn't pay off. We've got a good run here. No, didn't quite happen. It's just so close. Any move that I'm going to have to do. There's his wide line again. I know it was squeezed a bit more and it got more exaggerated. Oh, what's just happened?
Brilliant stuff, and that's allowed Briley to get right onto the scene. He was a little way off the back of Holmes, but now he's right in there. Got a nose alongside in 10. Thinks better of it and tucks in behind Holmes for turn 11.
Again, another slight mistake for myself. Anwar runs wide. Sean's put his nose in. I try and like cut it off a little bit, but just touch Anwar's rear bumper. Now, luckily, I had the momentum to hold it down the outside of Sean, but that could have sent me back to P3 there just for one silly little mistake. And this is just how close this race is going to be, as Anwar is now going full defensive mode. He's defending. See, that move into that corner now is now just gone. I've done it to him once, it won't let me do that move again. That move's now just never going to happen. He's going to be too wise to that. But again, notice here, he runs wide again. So that is looking probably like the most likeliest place that I would probably pass him. I could get him into the final corner, but I have to be a lot closer. Obviously coming through the boot section to be able to get that. So here we go, starting lap number 12. Anwar's now checking over his shoulder quite regularly just to make sure that I am nowhere near him. As we come into turn 2, again I'm going to close up quite a bit on the brakes. He locks up a little bit there, give him a little bit of a nudge, and again he's going to go defensive. There's 2 laps left. I expect nothing other than him defending. Again, he's wise to that move there. What we are going to do is we are going to put him out of position just a little bit. We are close enough here that he's going to check over his shoulder and he's going to defend. What can I do here? I'm just going to straighten the car up. See, I think that were a fair move. We're going to look at it from another angle, but I think that were a fair move.
Little gesture there from Anwar. I'm not quite sure who that was to. It looked like get behind me, get behind me. Oh, Joe stuck one down the inside. Where did that one come from? Side by side. Is he going to let him back through? No, he's going to take the position on the road. I think he surprised Anwar there.
He certainly did. He surprised us as well. He just managed to. He got such a late. He took a very late apex in turn 8, Andrew, and unusually that allowed him 9. But what was weird there was he sort of said, "You can have it back if you want," and Burrell Smith went, "Nah, that's fair. That was a fair pass."
It were probably the most unlikeliest of places that he expected to get overtaken on. But like I said, I gave him the opportunity. I said, you know, do you want it? Do you not? And he said, no, take it. I think it was just such a bold move. I don't think he expects anyone to be there. The gap was there. I think he just turned in because why would anyone go for a move there? But I have no no other option because everywhere else is getting defended. I can't overtake anywhere else. Fair play to Anwar. He said, you know, no, fair move, which, you know, I can't argue with. So now it's just a case of let's actually see if we can pull away, because to this point the lap times have actually been quite slow.
Waits for round number 5 here at Bayford Meadows. Joe Holmes leads, and he just set the fastest lap of the race at 54.291 to try and head off the challenge from Burrell Smith.
And I think the only reason that the lap times were quite slow is because everybody was just concentrating on defending. All I want to do now is just try and get away. I mean, I know I'm not going to pull away by loads. You know, we're talking, you know, there's a tenth between the 4 of us, I think. Like, you know, I'm not saying I'm going to pull away by half a second or anything like that. It's, you know, it is just that close. But I've got a little bit of a gap now coming into the final few corners.
And surely he's got it under control now. This has been a tenacious race, one of the closest A finals I can remember in this class. It's not been a completely dominant display from Joe Holmes today. He's had to work really, really hard. But there's the number 1 in P1.
What a race that was. Like, what a meeting that was. It went from the first heat of just being able to just walk away with it, and it's got gradually harder and harder. I mean, that final was just something else. There were 4 of us that could have, anyone could have won that. It was just, yeah. Good race. Good racing from everyone, fair racing. Can't really ask for anything else other than that. I've got some other videos that I'll be uploading, some little special event ones, so keep your eyes peeled.